call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Let's go! I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
I don't know how to stop. I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me, put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grid 6 feet like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
What's good, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Future Financial Strategies, where we go over different opportunities, different ideologies, different ways to navigate the financial landscape or hellscape, depending on where you're at in your journey that we find ourselves in, and how we can consistently stay ahead of the curve, how we can consistently be on the winning side of how this financial game is played out. Because at the end of the day, this is just a game. Once you get into it, you are either playing it or being played by it. But nonetheless, it is a game. Today, we're going to be talking about income and opportunity. Now, one of the things that I always look at, and, you know, me not being a traditional finance guy, I did come from a traditional finance background before I got into the crypto side of things and started looking to where the ball was going versus where it had been. But one of the things that I've always gravitated towards, and it's one of the ideologies that I carry even over into the crypto space, is I don't like just holding. Like, I'm not a fan of, actually, I am a fan of growth, but for the purposes of what we're trying to do over here in the Wolf Pack, which is consistently stay ahead of the curve, that is a secondary thing that we look at. And the reason it's secondary is because we live in a world where money circulates. Stagnant money is not good. Stagnant money doesn't make money. So when I'm building out any type of portfolio, I always look at the income first. I'm always looking for that edge, that I'm getting something for holding this while it's going up. I'm tapping myself into a position to where I'm going to have an opportunity to get some residual while I'm waiting. I'm looking at the income in a sense of how can I keep the money flowing? Now, a lot of people, when it comes to stocks and investing, they like to set up the drips. Me personally, I manage, at least at this juncture, I manage everything myself. I do not set up drips because sometimes that income, after I hit a certain point, needs to go towards something else. And I don't want to have to go in to turn it off. So I'd rather just make those purchases myself every single month. As that income comes in, or it goes in and then gets mixed in with my dollar cost average that goes into those avenues. With the crypto, it's basically the same thing. I'll set it up, except for with crypto, I normally have it set up with a floating amount. So if a position's supposed to be $1,200 and it gets to $1,400, or if it's actually, better example, $1,000 income position for me in crypto is supposed to be floating 1,000. So I start looking to pull after it gets above 1,200. I start looking to add in funds once it gets down to 800. And the reason I do it that way is because I want a certain amount of money kicked off. And as we do these transfers over into the new portfolio over on Crypto Portfolio Updates, you definitely want to tap in over there if you're not already in that channel, because that's in-depth, all crypto, all day, all the time. As we transfer over some of these funds now that we've done our consolidation, since we're going into a bull run, I do not want to cash out and reposition. I have some good positioning on some of my, actually on all of my positions. Everything's in the green. But what we are going to be doing is those positions will be getting added to as we roll them over. So that way we can get the maximum out of it that we can. We trimmed out what we needed to get our 4 Ethereum back. And I've opted to not completely liquidate those over. We're going to transfer them over to the new portfolio for the bull run. And then that way we'll be able to have some better dollar cost averaging in. We're going to be doing some interesting stuff on the portfolio tracking for that. But one of the things I did sit down and do over this holiday break that we had, this little respite from the daily grind of 6 days a week, getting that additional money in to get into the market, to get ourselves set up and positioned for the bull run that cometh, to get ourselves ready to get all the income that we can. And obviously you got to strike when the iron's hot. So all opportunities to secure the bag will be taken. We're getting that money set aside. We've got a really nice cash pool that we're dollar cost averaging into the market, counter our regular payday. It's looking nice, because we always got to track the numbers. And along with that, we're keeping our stuff running now. We are having a little bit more expenses because we're working more, but by and large, we are keeping our budget of what we have to pay back debts consolidated down to realistically just keeping the money flowing, because fortunately, when you're working all the time, you really don't have a lot of time to go trick off and fumble the bag. So that's been down to a bare minimum. We're going to get out a little bit this weekend, but overall, it's either being at work or being at the gym. So with those two things and having two focuses, like, you're in the best shape both financially and physically that I've ever been, because those are the only two things that we have to do, which is absolutely wonderful. It keeps you focused. It keeps you in the pocket. But I had to sit down and I'm looking, and as I'm building out the income piece of our bull run portfolio for the crypto portfolio, I'm also still adding into the dividend focus portfolio that's going to be the traditional finance portfolio, which we will start picking up and tracking as we get into that for the 2024 calendar year. We've got some things coming over to Future Financial Strategies that we're going to be adding in as parts of the show. One of which will be doing a little in-depth look into the portfolio pieces that I am currently working out as I rebuild my traditional finance portfolio. Because, as I've stated multiple times, I cleared everything out to go all in on crypto and secure that first Bitcoin, because that mattered more to me than keeping those failure funds. Bitcoin is the retirement play. And so in building that out, getting that portfolio set up, it was very important to me that we really focused on. I identified that opportunity, and I went all in, cleared heaven and earth to get that done. And we did. We did accomplish that. So now we are on the next leg of the journey, which is acquiring the 32 ETH to complement my Bitcoin as another extreme long position. And we are currently working on doing that. I think value wise, we are walking out of this year with at minimum. Well, I mean, actually, it's not even a minimum. I'd say we're sitting at, we're somewhere in between 7 and 10, because since we're rolling this over and our positions over into the bull run, it's not exactly like we're going with like a larger nugget of Ethereum, because I'm going to risk, obviously, the potential gains of the actual full-fledged bull run versus re-entering every single position again. And the reason I'm doing that is because we entered in at a much lower spot than where we are right now, because everything's in the green, and I would rather add to those positions and pull those up a little bit versus starting over and coming in at a much higher position than what we previously had for the bull run. Because I'm like, if we don't have to, we have those positions, they're kicking off a little bit of income, they're doing something for us. I'd rather keep that than go back in fresh. So we're getting the coffers ready to deploy funds. I've got a couple of positions that are going to be partially filled already as soon as we start deploying funds, which we will be doing that in a few days. I mean, we're right outside of December. Time is flying. Now, the rapid acceleration of time, at least from what it seems like, either we're all getting old or time is just, because I heard time starts going faster when you get older, but it's interesting because this game becomes a lot more fun when things are going faster, because the numbers change faster. So like, I'm seeing results because I have positive things going on, but I feel I could see how if you have negative things going on within your portfolio or within your financial situation, how that would be terrible, because you would see these bad situations playing out faster. You'd see the numbers going to zero faster. You'd see the debt accumulating faster. We're seeing the wealth accumulating faster over here in the wolf pack, and we're trying to keep that going. So I just wanted to make sure we did a good touch on how important we view income over here, because that also helps you build. And the reason I have the focus on income is because as somebody who's actively building, it's not 100% reliant on my money that I make through my physical labor. Now, is there a great deal of my physical labor income going into the markets? Absolutely. Every payday, every month, every year, we're etching more into it. Like I mean, my goal for me personally, for what I'm aspiring to do, is to get to a point to where 50% of my income that I personally generate as a person is going into the markets. We're at about, I think the last time I did the assessment on that, we are at about 35%. We're over 30. It's about 35-40%. Actually, I'm making a note of that. That's going to be a metric that we are going to check in 2024. That's going to be a metric that we check. Just overall, what percentage of the income that came in was allocated to go into the market? That'd be a good one. So that way we know every month where we're looking at. Because I'd say at minimum, I want it to be at 30%. But our goal is 50%. Because I mean, if you got 50% of your money going in the market, it really, realistically, if you can curtail your existence to where that's the way you're going about things. You should be in a good spot. You should be building something. You should have opportunities to make moves. So we're gonna add that. Hold on, let me make a note here. Future financial strategies metric percentage of income invested per month. That should not be a hard metric to pull out. I'm going to add it to my financial tracker for the end of month finances. See there? We updating. We're constantly making ourselves better. And every year you should be adding to what's tracked. Some years you'll find things that are arbitrary. Like I don't track exactly what I spend every day anymore. Now that I don't have a budget, but we've got a semblance of like how we're navigating. I just don't buy stuff. And that's just me personally. I understand that some of the people out here who are rich, they just go and buy stuff to flex on you and let you know. Like me personally, there's nothing that I could buy that I wouldn't prefer to be making income off of in the market. That's just where I'm at right now. And I understand we go through phases. I do have some markers for some social proof items. So that way, we can start letting people know we flexing a little bit around here, because obviously being front facing, I do understand the game. You guys want to see some results. So we're gonna have to get seeing some results. But overall, the way that my brain functions is every dollar that I see, I'm like, I'd prefer that just to be at work. I prefer them all to be at work. I want all dollars at work. So like a good example for me that I get to see regularly is my crypto portfolios. Like I get to see how those portfolios blow up, and it's not just growth. They blow up because a lot of the time I start early, and that's one of the things that we'll be rolling out for this bull run. And I'm going to do a lot of explaining on that, where a lot of the focus is going to be initially rushing into getting at least 50% of those income positions handled and implemented before we start buying any of the stuff that's just going to be sitting around being held. And the reason behind that is specifically because I want to be able to use the income that's generated from those income positions to continue purchasing, to continue buying crypto, to continue, because like it helps in the market. It's like, okay, well, now you've got X amount coming in. And obviously with the market volatility, you're going to have to manage those positions. But if you get them started early, you should get a little bit of, because like normally what I'll do is I'll backstop the position. I'll keep a couple of $100 sitting in cash. That'll just sit there for if the position dips below the metric. So if it drops down and it's like the position hits 800, it's $1,000 position, I've got $200 to go ahead and immediately invest. And after we get over that $200, we start buying other stuff. And the reason we do that is so that we can hurry up and get into those positions. Now, part of next year we'll have a little bit of leverage that's going to go into some of those positions as well, which will be cool. So we'll be initially starting to pay those back, because I like to get rid of the debt as soon as possible, if possible. But overall, we're going to have a focus on the income positions. December is going to be a really interesting month. We're going to see about these 0% interest checks that we got. We're going to get one of those rolling to see how that works. We'll probably do an in-depth episode specifically on that when we launch that, which I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be the first thing we do. It's going to be one of the first debts that we incur, and that's going to be coming out of our housing budget to pay that back, which will take us about 6-7 months. So if we get another one, we might be hitting that twice during the bull run year, which is going to be cool. It'll be really interesting to see, because obviously as we keep moving forward towards getting our the initial property backstop is, and for those who don't know, that is 6 months paid into the mortgage ahead. We're currently at 2. So we got 4 more months of payments that we got to jump on top of the regular payment. And then another 6 months that will sit in the market in an income generating position that'll just sit in the account. We might actually just go ahead and set the drip up on that one specifically, just because like that's allocated towards that. And I'm not the type of person, like, I understand a lot of people split out their accounts. I don't. I just don't like going to a bunch of different places unless it's like you're actively trading in an account. But like my holdings, like I want that account fat because we're also using that as leverage with the banking institutions that we're working with to get into that private banking faster. So for me, for right now, it serves to just have everything in a pool, because me personally, I don't go running to an account to go liquidate it to utilize everything. I know I do it by position, and I'm like, okay, so this is being invested in this. This is specifically for the house. This is how it contributes to the account as a whole. I've got my savings for my home in there. That part of it will be pulled out, but it's a specific position. It's the QQQ position. So we're trying to get aggressive in the markets. And so we've got a few $1,000s in that sits in there that'll come out when the time is right, when we find the next deal, when we get that piece together. We've got that, move it into the account. So that way, when they check the account, they know that it's there. And then we have the Bitcoin position, which is sitting in Cash App, and that's the Bitcoin that just stays in the Cash App account. It's not really hard to do that. And like when I do my Bitcoin buys, I get a better pricing because I'm using my house savings, and then my dollar cost average Bitcoin goes in there together, which lowers the amount of the fee that Cash App takes, because they're incentivizing you to make larger purchases, obviously. And so we do the large purchase, and then we split out the small amount that we have going into the market for right now to build up the stores on that. And yeah, we're gonna actually have a couple of very large purchases coming up here. Well, at least one very large purchase when we do the housing situation, because that initial 0% loan that we're trying to get, if that works out, because you see a lot of people talk about it online, but I test things over here. So if that scenario plays out, then that's going to be another 2 months of payments out, which will put us at 4 months. So then we'll be just nickel and diming it down after that. And then we're also coming up on tax return season, which if we get anything back for tax returns, that'll finish out the last little bits of it. Because I think that we'll probably focus that in on that. I normally put it towards Bitcoin exclusively, but I think that this time around, if we're within striking distance of that, then we'll see what we got. But I mean, we'll look at all the other stuff that we're putting towards it. We're also utilizing our Cash App loans. We're doing that. We're putting that towards it as well. So we're using that 6% that we're paying back anyway. Every time that comes around, we have that. We also have our cash reserve pool that we borrow from ourselves. We're also going to start putting that. We're chunking away at this as best we can. Like I normally use the cash reserve pool for stuff, but I think at this point we're almost to the spot to where I'm like, man, we're getting within striking distance. I'd almost like to just, if we're going to be paying it back anyway, I can skip buying some stuff. Like we might put the Christmas purchases on there that we're getting ready to do today. Like I think I'm going to go ahead and just do all the Christmas purchases today, and then figure out what that is, and then redeploy, get it out there. But we have a couple of different ways, because like if I wanted to, we could just go ahead and just do it. But I'd rather systematically do things so that way I can keep money going into the market, into the different avenues, than do one thing. And I understand a lot of the gurus don't do that. They're like, you got to pay off all your credit card debt. But that turns into a conversation of opportunity cost for me, because they're like, oh, well, credit card debt's 30%. It's like, okay, well, Bitcoin makes 100% a year. That means you have 70% opportunity cost that you lost because you wanted to just stop, pay off all the credit card debt so you could tell other people that you don't have credit card debt. Math doesn't shake out on that. Oh, you could pay your home off. My home loan is 3.25%. That's not almost a 96%. We'll just go ahead and get 96% opportunity cost of paying off my house versus investing in the market and having it make money. The math doesn't shake out on that. I don't have a car loan. I did pay my car off. That's the one loan that I do. And it's not that I won't invest to pay it off, but we definitely be making plans to keep those paid off quickly, because I do like to keep as much money in the market as possible. But car loans annoy me, just because something could happen to your car. You got to pay for the car. And like, now the car's down, you paying for the car repair, plus you paying the car note to keep the car. Otherwise they come take the car away from you. It's one of those things where I don't like that. But basically anything else that we can do, we keep the debt to a minimum, the circulating debt to a minimum. We pulled it back for the recession that we're currently in, but I definitely thought that it was going to be a little bit worse. And I think it's because of all the other things that we've been implementing. And like, when you start seeing when your net worth and your investments and stuff start kind of getting a life of their own after you get enough money into them, it hits different. Like, my traditional finance account isn't like that. Like, it's very me dependent, but the crypto side of things is moving. It's like moving to where you starting to make different strategies. You're like, we're going to cash everything out. Like, we'll cash out what we need to get what we need back so that we can redeploy that. But as far as cashing everything out, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that that's the play. I don't know if that's what we want to do. And yeah, so because that money is making money. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if we want to just start like redistributing all this. Like, we can redistribute some of it. But yes, we're looking at those options, and we're looking at the opportunity cost of things, and we're getting stuff moving. Now, if I wanted to stop investing in everything, then like, this could be done at a much faster clip for the one thing. But I like keeping everything going, because stuff is making money at this point, and like, I'm seeing it making money and it's noticeable. So I'm like, I don't necessarily want to stop that. Like, we could, but I don't know. It's just getting to that point to where you start pulling triggers on stuff, especially since I know that by the end of the year, we're going to be close. And I want to get my housing metric, especially like the amount that I wanted to have in the Bitcoin position specifically. I want to have that secured as soon as possible, because like, I want to get the maximum out of the bull run for that. Like, I want that money, obviously it's sitting, but I want it sitting and growing. Like, I don't want it in cash. Like, I want it in the market, and I want it in Bitcoin heavily. So we're looking at some cutoff metrics. My cutoff metric for that is going to be a little bit different than the cutoff metric, for instance, the stuff that's going into the market to get to work. But we shall see. We shall see. With that said, we've got to go over to, I've got a couple of news stories, and then we're going to talk about the opportunity piece. So the first one, we'll go ahead and get this pulled up, add to stage. The first one, it says, and this is from Bloomberg. Obviously, we're not going to get to read these, but it's kind of some sentiments about Black Friday and the American economic system overall, because we're always looking at the economic system, and then we're basing where we're at and how we're navigating against what the masses are doing, because we want to be counter the crowd. It says, So the title of this article is YOLO Consumers Boost the Economy. So it's YOLO, the whole concept of you only live once. Do it right now. Don't worry about the future. Blah 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 blah. Like, we're gonna go on trips, we're gonna go on experiences, and we're gonna be broke until we're old, because apparently that's what people are doing, as opposed to making a plan, executing the plan, and trying to get into the NBA, the never broke again, which is the focus of the Wolfpack over here. They want to go to the Taylor Swift show. They want to book their Paris trip. They want to go post on the Instagram that their lives are great and they're doing things, even though they're setting themselves up for disaster. They're dining out. They want to take pictures of the food. They want to go on foodie dates. They want you to go take them out to the nice restaurant so that they can take pictures and pretend like they're not there with you, so that people can see them eating out, so that the next guy in line knows that he got to buy an expensive meal to take this woman out. Consumers are splurging even as their savings fall. These people have nothing. Most of these people you see with the banging grams that are always out, they are broke, beyond broke. They make just enough to go have the experience, and then it's over. It says shoppers are prioritizing spending on experiences over goods. So now it's shifted from like you got to have things to, oh, where did you go this summer? Where were you at? Where'd you get flued out to? That's what's important now. That's what they're doing. Companies selling merchandise are retrenching as demand wanes because people are choosing to. We've shifted to a society that wants you to know that they're doing things and having experiences, and for all intents and purposes, they are happier than you are. They want you to know that they're happy. I'm happy. I'm on the beach. I got flued out. And then they come back and they're stressed because they don't have the money to pay their property taxes to keep the house that their family gave them afloat, so they can keep it. Because if you don't pay your property taxes, we don't actually own anything. You're always in some form of rent. It's just one's an order of magnitude more expensive than the other. They're stressed about property taxes. They're stressed about keeping the bills on. They're 60 days behind on their credit card payment. They're 60 days behind on their car payment. The car's about to get repossessed. You're about to get evicted. You're behind on rent. But you went to Paris. You let them know, I got out the country. I got to use my passport. Like, I'm doing something. I flew. I flew. I was in the air. I went somewhere. You didn't get paid for it. You didn't get a tax write-off for it. You spent your money, and now you ain't got no money. I got one more article, and then we're gonna get to the closeout thing here for the opportunity. So now, the other thing is what we need to know about Black Friday. Now, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Obviously, they got that paywall up. We ain't got through it, but it's got it. You can see a few points, and I can read real well, so I can read the part that's kind of grayed out. But this is what we need to know. Millions of Americans are headed to stores on Black Friday. Here's a roundup of recent journal coverage of the economy and the holiday shopping season. All right, coming in at number 1, let's talk about it. Retailers are navigating through the holiday season in which shoppers aren't splurging as much as they have in recent years. That corroborates with the Bloomberg article, because you guys are booking flights. You're spending money on trips and experiences and tickets that are super expensive. They can't get you one way, they're going to get you the other way. And it seems like this year you guys are opting for experiences to let people know that you're doing stuff versus letting people know that you have things. I ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do, but that YOLO lifestyle really doesn't play out well long term. It's kind of like YOLO investors. It really doesn't play out long term. You get to the end of the road and you find out that these people don't know what they're doing. They're broke. They're you on the gram all the time looking like you living the best life ever, and then your mattress is literally on the floor. You ain't even got a bed frame. And me personally, I like low beds, so I'm not hating. But like, you got to get something under your mattress. Like, I got a low bed frame. It's a little guy. It's like keeps it low. I like low beds. I don't like being super high up in the air. I don't like it. I don't like it. You roll out of it, you've fallen far. You know, I'm getting older. I can't afford to fall like that. But my knees still work, so I can bend them to go down low. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to take care of yourself. You sleep close to the floor. It's better for it. But you don't want your mattress on the floor. You don't want to have an inflatable mattress. You don't want to not have a sofa. Like y'all ain't got furniture. There's no art in your house. Because you're choosing short term. You're not gonna ever make it into the NBA, but you'll sit here and these same people will complain about the system that they're actually on the opposite end of. You a diehard consumer, mad that you made the choice to consume and you can't consume more. Like, that's at the end of the day, a lot of these people, that's what they're actually upset about, is that they can't consume on the level they want to because they won't make the sacrifices necessary to be able to consume at that level. If they made more money, they would still be broke because everybody wants to have the cake and eat it too. And that's, once you're in the NBA, you can, but you got to get there first. You got to get a firm footing. So YOLO. Number 2. Here is what some leading retailers have said about the holiday season and the state of the consumer this year. So they did an article basically talking about what the people who are extracting resources from you are saying about your spending habits this year. I mean, I would say that if old reckless Ray Dinero was going to be in the YOLO lifestyle, I would prefer to be the YOLO experience guy versus the YOLO I have things guy. Because at least then you've got some like good solid memories, like the value of the money. I believe that it would mean more to go have some really good experiences and be cultured, as opposed to just having a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about to show other people that don't care about you, that don't even like you, that you got stuff. Like I definitely would be in the camp of, I'm going to Ibiza. I'm going to Puerto Rico. I'm going to Brazil. And now that we've got our finances set up right and we got some stuff building, we are going to start traveling. But it's not going to, we're going to be traveling off points. We're going to be traveling for free. Like, that's off the stuff that I already do. Like, I'm not spending extra money. Like, we're going to keep it pushing. And I'm pretty sure that with the current utilities and bills that I got and my normal expenditure, we should be able to crank out at least one free trip a year. Not to mention, hopefully here soon, we will be getting some, because like normally I get at least like one paid business trip a year too. So, that's 2 trips a year. And for somebody who doesn't take time off and doesn't value actually sitting down on the beach, I mean, I'm on technically vacation now, but I'm also on call because I don't believe it. I'm trying to get the bag. And I understand that people don't want to be on call over the holidays. Totally fine with that. I'll be on call. But I'm also on call. I'm also making sure to jump knee deep into my content creation, and make sure that we out here securing something. Like, there's always work to be done. There's always something that needs to happen. And I'm out here trying to make it happen. So for me, 2 trips a year is a lot. If we get into 3, I mean, that's a good life. Like, if I get to 1 a quarter, go find something to do a quarter, because that's not including like the road trips that I don't really count because I have long weekends every weekend. So like, if I choose to not go get that overtime bag, I can go be somewhere. But I think the next thing that we trying to figure out is, I think I'm trying to figure out and solve for New Year's, because I do think I want to go somewhere for New Year's. I feel like that would be fun. I want to go do something somewhere else that's not here for New Year's. Either that or we gonna ball out in town for New Year's. I don't know, but we gonna figure it out. No, the next one, at macro level, the latest economic data and surveys suggest spending, hiring, and sentiment have cooled. Some broader data on the state of the U.S. consumer. Now, this one's interesting because at a macro level, like we said people are shifting over to experiences over things, which means that, like, if you're not buying things, there don't need to be the people inhabiting those stores where the things are. So yeah, I mean, going into the store honestly is a old model. Like I don't like going in any. I love ordering stuff. I like it getting delivered. It's like Santa brings something. You get to open a package, which is gratifying, and it comes to your house. You ain't got to deal with nobody. Like you can't beat that. But you know, people are feeling like they're not going and getting things. You know, it's interesting. We'll see what we got. We'll see what we got going there. I could see how that could shift, especially if people are going places. From heard on the street, Americans say they are worried about the economy, and there are certainly, there certainly are reasons to the question. The staying power of the consumer spending, that doesn't mean they won't spend heartily this holiday season. I'm going to mine that out and just say that, you know, people are worried about the economy. It seems like people are actually, and I would prefer if you're gonna crash out financially, I'd rather you crash out on stuff that you value. And it seems that people are valuing the experiences, the expensive tickets over the things. I'll rock with that. I rock with that heavy. Like don't let them shame you about your secondhand Gucci. You get your secondhand Gucci and you be happy with it. And then spend your money where you value it. Like I think it's real corny when people want to shame people based on their financial values. That'd be like if I shame people for like not upgrading their phone. Like I care about phones. That's something I care about. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy technology. I'm always looking to upgrade technology. I'm always creating plans to where it's like, okay, so like how far out until I can buy this? How can I upgrade my laptop? How can I upgrade some stuff in the studio? I like those things. How can I make sure that the sound system in my living room is top notch? How can I upgrade that? What's the best technology that I can have for this? How can I make this creature comfort? Like that stuff I care about. How can I make sure that I got the best thermostat that'll help me save some money, adjust the temperature for me? Because I don't want to be constantly adjusting temperature. I want to tell you what the temperature should be roughly, and you figure it out. How we do that. Those are the things that I care about. I'm not going to walk into somebody's house and be like, you got a normal thermostat, you dummy. Like, who cares? That's their house. Let them live how they want. It might not be as comfortable as my house, but I ain't got to live there. That's their situation. Spend your money where you value it, people. I would say don't crash out with your money, though. You should probably make sure that you've got some savings, some retirement, like at bare minimum, like you should have the failure funds, your 401k, your Roth, all that stuff sorted. Something. Y'all can't be out here just broke, still going to Ibiza, still going on trips, and then flexing on the gram like you got money. Like you don't. That's crazy. Then let's see here. This next, now we in the gray space. Let's see what we got here. Americans hitting the road or taking to the air. Americans hitting the road are paying less for fuel than last year. I have noticed this. Here's a roundup where the current travel deals take and which to ignore. So, yes, that's the one thing that I've seen come down is fuel prices. It's been nice. It's been nice. It's been real nice. I'm not going to lie. Which I'm assuming affects your airplane tickets also. And then they did an article, the last one that's grayed out that you can barely see here at the bottom because I got good eyes, at least currently, says, and here's a historical and visual look of Black Friday shopping, which is probably some sort of graph chart that is talking about what we're looking at in regards to consumer spending habits on Black Friday, which is a big consumer day. So that's what I have for news articles, just something to think on. We like to have stuff to think about here. And lastly, I'm going to show you guys this tab, which you'll also have seen on crypto portfolio updates, but this is an important conversation. As we are financial warriors who know that we're in a financial war. And when you start seeing opportunities moving off of your shores or blocking your IP address because of the country that you're in, because they are no longer no longer supporting business in your region at all. That's not a good thing. This is what I've been talking about. I've talked about this on multiple platforms. I've said America's going to start experiencing brain drain. They're going to start seeing companies, smart people, wealthy people leave its borders because the policies are not beneficial to the people. And this right here, I'm going to read it for you. So this is one of the few centralized exchanges that I liked. It's the last holdout for being able to, have access to everything in the market, have access to all the opportunities, the most opportunities you could have in the US, basically, because they had access to basically, outside of a handful, every crypto that was out there you could trade on this platform. Now, when you pull this website up now, because I haven't been here in a while, because me personally, I'm straight through and through DeFi. I do not use centralized exchanges any more than I have to. But this pops up, this notice, when I came to talk about it on Crypto Portfolio Updates. I did a special piece of content that's going to be for once we get members only access. It'll be for members and people behind paywalls, basically. Some in-depth stuff. And we were talking about navigating through buying your first Bitcoin and some of the options that you have. And I pulled this up because, I haven't been here in a while. And while I don't use it, I do like the platform. And it says, important notice, based on your IP address, we currently do not provide services in your country or region due to local laws, regulations, or policies. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. If you are from a region where our services are available, please access our platform from a supported location to complete KYC verification. That means that if you're in the United States, you can no longer use the last exchange that you could use from the United States with the minimum KYC. It means the minimum getting in your business and the most options as far as cryptos that you can trade on a platform. And I've been saying this whole time, and I understand that people don't listen to me. People are like, oh, he's got a small channel. You're right, I do. That's why I can tell you the truth and give you the actual game. Oh, he's not rich yet. You're correct. That's why I'm documenting the journey so that you can see the stuff that I'm implementing, the stuff that works, the stuff that doesn't work, how we're navigating, and the thought process and logic behind it. As somebody who has, gotten some of the social proof. I purchased my own home. I don't have excessive amounts of consumer debt any longer. While being in crypto, I eliminated $30,000 in consumer debt. Also got myself navigated into a position of home ownership. I haven't had to move 3 times over the pandemic. I've got equity in my home. I don't have a car note. I pay pay your stuff off. I'm tracking my net worth so I can give the receipts on how that's going. But this is what I was talking about. This was a good opportunity for some of you. I've already graduated past this, but it was an opportunity for some of you guys to be able to make some moves, get some additional plays in that you can't get on your Coinbase, on your Gemini, on your Binance US, because you're locked into, at max, using Binance US, 150, around roughly 150, 200 tokens versus a couple of thousand. Going into a bull run, you have a pool of 150 tokens, which means that you're not going to be able to get access to easily through a centralized exchange to some of the more higher risk, higher reward plays. Opportunity is running away from you at this point. America can't get its stuff together, and it is causing brain drain. We are going to be behind in as far as the future is concerned. this is where the ball's going, and they're reining you in so that way you can't have the opportunities that some, you know what this is reminiscent of? The traditional finance market. It's the same reason that you don't have access to IPOs unless you're already rich, unless you're an accredited investor, which is someone who's already rich. They're protecting you so much that they can tell you that you're too stupid to know how to invest or use your money. So you can only have this basket of opportunities that we'll give you that we can control how far ahead you can move. This is the antithesis of why those of us who originally went all in on crypto got into these spaces. Again, the middlemen are telling you what you can or can't do with your money, while they get to do whatever they want with theirs. Those of us who are already in the space, like myself, we can do whatever we want with ours. Not because they're allowing us to, because I still can't access this platform. But since I'm not using centralized exchanges, I have the ability to circumvent most of these roadblocks. Because I can just go direct to the source. And not everybody is capable or able to do that. And it's going to, over this bull run, there's going to be stuff that some of you won't have access to. I mean, you'll still have access to some great opportunities. Bitcoin, Ethereum, in my opinion, Chainlink, XRP, those, you'll have access to those. Those are your blue chip wins. Those are the easy wins. And that's where I tell most people to start. Like, if you don't know how to circumvent something like this, if you look at this and you're like, oh man, I can't sit at the big kids table, those 4 coins that I just listed off, you should start there. You should be in those plays, because you're not apt enough in the space to know that this really is only an issue for people that are either lazy or uninformed, or incapable of navigating the space the way that it was intended to be navigated. And for those people, there's still opportunity, there's still wins. They're just not going to be the same wins that the rest of us are going to be having. Because you ain't going to have access to coins that are, hold on. I got to pull this up because I want to be accurate, because I got one of my plays that's pretty big for me that I'm pretty into. I like it. I like it a lot. It's pretty far. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna have access to the coins that are ranked at 2,931 by market cap. You ain't gonna have access to those coins. It's just what it is. Like, you will never on an American exchange have access to that coin, doing it the lazy way. Now, if you're a crypto native and you're used to being in the space and navigating the space, you will have access to those coins, because those are coins that you can get access to via DeFi. It's a lot more work, a lot more risk, a lot more reward. So we're gonna close it out on that note, but it's something to think about, because we don't want people telling you how you are supposed to interact with your money. Like, they're fine. You can go get a loan to get a basket weaving degree and be in debt forever. You can go buy a house that you technically probably can't afford so that it can get repossessed. You can go buy a car that you definitely can't afford so it can get repossessed. But for some odd reason, the things that'll multiply your ability, multiply your options, change the trajectory for yourself and your family, those are the things that they tell you it's dangerous. You'll lose all your money. Listen to us. We'll get you through this. We don't want you to lose all your money. You don't want to be in that space. It's dangerous in that space. But they'll let you crash out on everything else. Something to think about. But the other thing that's important is you got to start watching when these businesses start leaving your country. That's not good. America is supposed to be the land of opportunity, and opportunities are actively leaving our borders. They're actively blocking access to people within these borders. Your windows of opportunity are being closed. The windows of opportunity for the working class, the working poor, the middle class, the upper middle class, what have you. They're making it harder for you to change the position that you have within the hierarchy. That's not a good sign. That's never a good sign, people. So you guys, as they say, stay woke. You gotta be on your P's and Q's because we battling out here. So I would be learning as much as you can about getting into some of these spaces and shoring up your ships and making sure that you're striving, making sure that you're putting enough to the side for the future. Because if this is what's going on now, the future's going to be harder. The game is not being set up for it to be easier later. It's setting up for it to be nightmarish later, which means that you got to be on your game now. But with that said, it's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are going to be tapping out until the next time, people. See ya.